to talk to you about a really funny story that I read online. Somebody tweeted me a link to this, so thanks to everybody, by the way, for always sending me really funny shit on Twitter and Facebook. I really appreciate the material, it's great. I don't know how you guys find some of these things, but this particular story is called You and God. Awesome and best conversation ever in the world. It's the bestest story ever. I'm just gonna read this to you guys. There's two different people talking, me and God. So this is me, this is God. Here we go. God, can I ask you a question? Sure. Promise you won't get mad? I promise. Why did you let so much bad stuff happen to me today? What do you mean? Already I have a problem with the story because if you're God, you're supposed to know everything. So if you're asking a human for clarification, you're obviously not clairvoyant. Well, I woke up late. Yes? My car took forever to start. Okay. At lunch, they made my sandwich wrong and I had to wait. On my way home, my phone went dead just as I picked up a call. All right. And on top of all of that, when I got home, I just wanted to soak my feet in my new foot massager and relax. But it wouldn't work. Nothing went right today. Why did you do that? This is where the story gets really good. God's response, perfect. Let me see. The death angel was at your bed this morning. The death angel, you know. And I had to send one of my angels to battle him for your life. I let you sleep through that. Isn't that sweet? You know, he could have woke you up to see the death angel, God angel battle, but he let you sleep. He has respect, you know, or he could have just ended it because he is God after all. He could have just snapped his fingers and just taken care of that shit right away. But no, he just had to send an angel of goodness to fight the angel of death, you know, and that's what happened. Then the person responds, humbled, oh, I didn't let your car start because there was a drunk driver on your route that would have hit you if you were on the road. Yeah, pretty obvious probably to most of you what my response is going to be to this, but why not just prevent the situation where the drunk driver is on the road instead of the one person who would have gotten into an accident? I'm sure he's putting other people in danger. Why not just get rid of the scenario where there is a drunk driver if you're God? And also, what about all the people throughout the history of ever that have been killed or injured in car accidents with drunk drivers? Did they deserve it for some reason? How come their car started? How come God didn't stall them in some kind of way? Then the person feels ashamed. Then God says, the person who made your sandwich today was sick, and I didn't want you to catch what they have. I knew you couldn't afford to miss work. Again, what about all the people who do get sick from anything and miss work or miss school or have some other serious repercussion, or they have cancer or some other disease that they can't just recover from and they miss a shit ton of work? I guess that's a totally different story. They were supposed to have those things happen, just like the people who die in car accidents with drunk drivers. Like, you know, their car started, they needed to get into that accident for some kind of reason. And this is what pisses me off a lot of times about apologetics whenever it comes to religion, because there's always some kind of excuse. If you didn't get into the accident that you almost got into, it was because God intervened. If you did get into the accident that you got into, it's because God wanted you to for some reason. There was something about that you needed to learn from, or something that the people around you who suffer from your loss if you die needed to learn from it. So either way, God doesn't help, he's a hero. God does help, he's a hero. There's no way to lose. The person is embarrassed and says, okay, your phone went dead because the person that was calling was going to give false witness about what you said on that call. I didn't even let you talk to them, so you would be covered. I see. Oh, and that foot massager? It had a shortage that was going to throw out all of the power in your house tonight. I didn't think you wanted to be in the dark. I'm sorry, God. Are you serious? You didn't let the foot massager work because of the power shortage? Don't you have better things to worry about? You know, like, oh God, you know, I don't want this one person to have an issue with the electricity in their house. Let me just, you know, screw up their foot massager. I don't have other things going on around me, possibly at all, that could be important to think about, maybe. Don't be sorry, just learn to trust me in all things, the good and the bad. I will trust you. And don't doubt that my plan for your day is always better than your plan. You know, I kind of disagree with that. I think there are probably a lot of people out there who have better plans for what their day could be without God apparently choosing for them what that plan is. You know, there's a lot of people out there who have shitty lives. They're starving, they're dying, they're sick. I don't think that, you know, their version of the day would be that bad if they could choose it. I want God, and let me just tell you, God, thank you for everything today. You're welcome, child. It was just another day being your God, and I love looking after my children. At the bottom of this wonderful story, it says author unknown. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take credit for this either. I bet the author of this story has had a pretty rough life. Could you imagine being this person and then meeting somebody else who's had a shitty day and being like, well, you know, good thing that happened to you. Because, you know, God's probably preventing, you know, the dragon that would have breathed fire and just incinerated you in a second that you would have run into if you hadn't wrecked your car this morning, or if you hadn't spilled that coffee on your blouse. You know, maybe you would have been hit on by a guy with impure thoughts, you know, because he would have been staring at your buttons. Oh, you're right. I'm so glad I ruined my blouse. I am so glad I totaled my car because you're right. You know, I could have run into that dragon. And then the comments on this thing are brilliant. Nice eye-opener for all. Thanks for sharing. Wow, very nice. Thank you, Lord, for another day. Then the only other comment on here is one person being like, stretching it a bit. What exactly is stretching it a bit? I mean, the whole thing sounds pretty ridiculous to me. What version of the truth are we stretching here? I feel like all of it's just nonsense. Anyways, I thought this was a pretty funny story. I hear stuff like this all the time where people make up excuses for things. And like I said, if something shitty happens, it's because God was saving you from something shittier. And if something shitty doesn't happen, he gets the credit for looking after you. But like I pointed out earlier, there are starving kids in Africa with diseases, and I don't think that he's doing that out of the kindness of his heart to prevent them from facing some worse kind of fate. I don't know how much worse than that it could possibly get. And the thing that sucks about what I just said is I know people who are fervently religious are gonna come back at me and say that they're learning some kind of life lesson from having those problems. Like, they're going to justify it. I've even heard people justify stuff like that by saying that they're not a good person inside and for some reason they deserve what they're going through, which is even freaking like worse. I can't believe people would actually be like, well, you know, yeah, God wouldn't do that if there weren't something going on there that, you know, they needed to have that happen to them because they needed to be taught to stop being such a sinner. And even after having that kind of rationality, they will say that you need religion for morals and that they are morally superior than you. So that's the world we live in. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comments section below. Like it if you liked it, share it everywhere. All my social media links are in the description below. Also, I'm selling t-shirts at JacquelineGlenn.com that say logic and fiction and cool shit, so check it out. And thank you to everyone who's supporting me on Patreon. It makes a huge difference and I really appreciate it. Again, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.